Hello, thank you for joining me again. Today I'm going to work on another of these canvas boards, which is a 10 by 12. It's nice and smooth, but I'm just going to prep it first. And here I am, I've now given it a coat of gesso and sanded it so that it's nice and smooth to work on. I want to do another abstract today, but I want to show you how you can mix some of these beautiful acrylic inks together to make different shades. They're beautiful the way they come straight from the bottle, but sometimes we want a different colour, so I'm going to use a metal dish. And here's one that I've made earlier, which was a sort of a green mixture with blue and metallic green. I'm going to do the same today, but with a magenta, which is actually a purple lake colour. This is Rowney Purple Lake. I'm going to put a few drops in the dish. I want plenty. Few drops of the Liquitex silver. I'm just going to give that a good mix together. It's a bit of an ongoing process. You have to keep mixing to see what you want. So add in a few more drops of silver, and that gives that lovely pearlescent shade. Can you see how it's come together nicely now? That's lovely. It's like a sort of iridescent plum. I do want it a little bit darker, so I'm just going to test it first. Yeah, it's very pretty. I like that, but I'm actually going to add some indigo, and I'm just going to drop in a couple of drops at a time. When you're mixing a colour, start light and add the dark colours gradually. And just give that another mix in. You can always add more dark, but it's very difficult to get rid of it if you've got too much. Trying it again. No, it's still not quite dark enough, so here we go. Oh yeah, put a few more drops of indigo in, and that's the sort of colour I'm after. Lovely. Always good to have a tester as well. Give that a spritz and you can see how it moves about as well. That was a mix of the water and flow enhancer for acrylics. Beautiful. Okay, so here I am on my canvas. I've used Pigma pen just to make a couple of marks. I've used a gold to make some circles. I'm just testing there to see if it was dry, and it wasn't. So I'm going to leave that, make sure it dries before we start putting any paint on it. Okay, we're dry now. That's smashing. So I'm starting off with this round-nosed palette knife, metal palette knife, and I'm actually applying some titanium white acrylic paint just straight on. I know I've drawn these lines, but I don't necessarily want to keep them all. Now I'm using a flat brush and I'm just applying some clean water, and I'm going into that lovely mix that we've made, and I'm going to brush that on. I'm working very intuitively. I'm not coming up with a great plan. I just want to play. The best way to sort of do abstract work is really to see what you enjoy and the effects that you can get. So we'll bring that colour out a little bit more. I'm still sort of keeping to that gold line. Give that a bit of a spritz. Again, with just clean tap water in a spray. And we'll do the tilt. Lovely to see how it works then. And it's going where it wants to go. Beautiful. And as it's sort of thinned out, you can see how pretty that colour is. And we can always add more in later. Just going to dab that because that's run into an area I don't really want it. Okay, and I'm using a pipette just to add some more of that colour in, but quite heavily. So it's much easier to control. And now this is a big spatula, big palette knife. I'm just pulling that colour out. You can cover a good area. This is a 10 by 12 canvas board, so we've got a bit more room to play with. And it also makes sort of indentations into that white paint we put on as well. It'll make it interesting. I'm not normally a purple person, but I do fancy a change. And I always think spring sort of brings purples and yellows together. So we'll have a nice play. Now I'm just using that silver straight from the bottle and using the silicone spatula to push it. You can push it exactly where you want to. And we can again scrape it down, pull the colour through that purple. We know the colours will work together because we've made a mix with them. Okay, so again, with this lovely silicone spatula, you can actually remove paint if it's too thick or it's in the wrong place. Just give it a pull and you can take it out. Okay, I'm going back in with the white. And I've just added a little bit down to that bottom right area. Apologies that I haven't shown as much as I would like. I got this sort of setup perhaps not quite right. Where I've taken some of the ink away from that bottom right, I've put it into the top left. And I'm going straight in here now with that Crimson Lake acrylic ink, just straight from the dropper, and I'm just sort of drawing with it. And now I'm going to give it a spritz, and you can see what a beautiful colour it is, even by itself. Gorgeous shade. Very vibrant. The lovely thing about acrylic inks is they are very vibrant. You can remove the bits that you don't want. You can use it with a kitchen towel, or you can use it with the brush. And here we go. This is dried overnight, and as you can see, the silver is beautiful. We've got lots of shimmer in there. Not too much, not too garish, but just very interesting. So now we can move on to the next stage, and I'm going to add a bit more of the titanium white. This round end makes it very easy to work next to rounded shapes. And now I'm actually going to go in with some raw sienna, which is a really beautiful golden yellow. This is the Liquitex. And I just think this colour and purple go really well together, especially this time of year. It's coming up to spring here in the UK, although for my fellow Brits looking at the weather out of the window, you wouldn't think so. So I'm moving that about just with that brush and a good spritz. And then we can let it do its thing. A bit heavier on the water there. I use the pen spritz. Sometimes it's not quite powerful enough. We give that another bit of a tilt. Again, remove any areas that you don't want. Sometimes with the spray it does splash them. And you can move it about again with the water just on your brush. This is just a cheap flat brush, perfect for this sort of work. And also the spatula you can move about. I'm going to add some white in there as well. I'm going to actually just mix that on the canvas board. And we're going to end up with some texture in there because I'm not worrying about making it too flat. Okay, I'm going to spread a little bit more gold about. Really, as you can see, this is just a question of keeping going, playing. Use your tools to create shapes. Made that lovely line there with the white paint. And I've got to let that dry. Okay, so I'm going in with a small brush here. And I'm going into that colour that we've mixed. I'm going to have to come up with a name for that. If anybody has any suggestions, please let me know in the comments. That's lovely. And again, I'm going in with that neat Crimson Lake. Just following those initial lines that we've put in. They were very random lines, just to give a bit of a framework. Let's join that up there. That creates a nice closure. And again, wow, beautiful colours. Remove where you don't want it. Remember, you're in control of this. And I've put a little bit more white paint up there, little titanium white, just brushing it over a few areas, down at that bottom bit there, smooth that little mark out. Lovely. It's great for covering up any little areas that you perhaps don't want. Okay, back up to that top right hand corner now, and I'm going in neat again with the raw sienna. Mixes really beautifully with that purple. It's a sort of orangey brown. It's gorgeous. And just move that around. And I'm just using the palette to scrape through that paint. And I'm going to lift some of that paint there, spread that around a little bit, and pull that down. Beautiful. It moves quite well. It's very fluid, so it will pull very nicely. And we'll lift some of that, and I'm actually going to graze it across the top of this bottom area here where we've got that purple and the white. So it will just show through. You can just see, look, it's not heavy, but it just adds a little bit of warmth to it. We've got some great texture going on there. And now just smoothing some of that colour out. adding the interest where I want it. It's looking pretty good. And now in this bottom corner, I want to just balance that top area just by putting some more of that beautiful crimson lake. It's just really joining up all the areas I want connecting. And now while that's wet, I'm going to actually pull that into that area, just soften that end and layer that across the yellow. So like we did the yellow across the purple, we do it the other way around. Just adds that little bit of interest, and it's moving brilliantly, really softening out. I'm liking that. And here I think I'm finished. I've just added in a few more details. As you can see, we've got a lovely shine going on. I've got a little bit of the sort of raw sienna just here, just to give a little bit of highlight over that area. I've got some dark going on there, and it's balanced very well. I'm pleased with the results, and I really hope that you will fancy having a go. You can see how straightforward it can be and also how enjoyable. And I hope that if you do, you'll give me a shout, and that I will see you very soon for another project. Thanks for watching. Keep painting, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.